CSI was just off their game. They picked a bad spot to be cold, and it really bit them in the end there, losing by 3 points. Real heartbreaking loss there in the championship game.
Hey, you know what else with that game? You just had a great player, Michael Woods, just show off why he's so great. The number 2 scorer in the entire nation. That's for Division III basketball. But now with Division I basketball, another New York team, a local team, drops. The Cuse, the Orange, Syracuse, no longer the top team. What happened?
Well, 24-0 to start the season. I mean, they were phenomenal. They were fantastic. And now, what are they, 25-3 now, Blackburn? I mean, they dropped
26-3.
Very similar.
The latest loss was to Virginia, who's currently ranked 5th. They lost 75-56. That's a huge loss for a team that was originally undefeated. So you could only expect them to drop.
Yeah, they were due for a big loss there, and now they're falling out of the top 5. That's pretty crazy.
I think it's just the number 24. CSI had a 24-game win streak, and then they lost. Syracuse, 24-game win streak, and then they had their downfall.
Well, there is still an undefeated NCAA team, Wichita State 31-0 at the Division I level. So
now, that what I don't understand is it 31-0. I get the conference. They're not in a big-time conference. It's not. You got the Big 12, the Big 10. It's not one of those, but still. 31-0, and you're the number 2 team?
Well, yeah, because especially, all you have to do is look at last week's games. Florida played Vanderbilt and LSU. Wichita State played Bradley and Missouri State. So wins like that aren't going to weigh as much as wins over the teams Florida is playing against. So you factor in the 2 teams they lost to, you factor in the 27 games that they won, and 27-2 in a top-tier conference is going to get you that first rank.
Yeah, well, similarly to CSI and the Dolphins, I mean, they were ranked first in their overall CUNY division. I mean, 24-game win streak. They lost 1 game in their division. That was in the championship, ranked 18th, and now they're not making the big match here in March coming up for the Madness. That's not going to happen for them.
Which is absolutely ridiculous.
Well, that's to Chris's point. I mean, rankings really doesn't mean that much depending on the division you're in. You could be ranked 18th, as CSI was, 2 teams higher than them, as Chris Soriano, our former sports fellow here, posted that the 2 teams that needed to lost. I forget their exact names, but they lost, and CSI still did not get in to the big game.
I guess it's better to have an off game of basketball early on the season, just like with college football. It's better to have an off game early on the season. You can't have it late in the season.
Right.
Because you could actually have a team that does terrible in the beginning, but they keep on winning and winning and winning and winning, and they get to the end and they win it all. But meanwhile, you have a team that has more wins that ends up not with the title.
This is just another example of the CUNYAC getting no love from the NCAA. The CUNYAC gets looked upon in the NCAA rankings.
Well, I think York got a bit.
Well, you have to, because the winner of every conference gets an automatic bid to the tournament. Then the at-large bids are picked from the remainder of the field. And it's just another example of the CUNYAC not getting the looks that they deserve from the NCAA. There's no way CSI should not be in this tournament.
Great team. They were nationally ranked at 18 last time. I'm trying to get where they actually are ranked now, but they probably fell out of the top 25. I mean, you got to think that York eventually will get up there, having the number 2 scorer in the nation. But that's what's up with Division III basketball. Talking about Division I, Syracuse falls out. Wichita State, 31 wins. They're number 2. It's like, what gives you the knowledge to say this team is number 2, even though they have 31 wins? They're undefeated. They're still not as good as this other team that may have 1 or 2 losses. They're still not as good. It's very troublesome for some people to understand that. But, it is what it is. You carry on. And, yeah, that's basketball for you. That's sports for you. You cannot lose when it comes later on to the season. CSI suffers that. I spoke to Will Fonseca. We remember how Fonseca was during the game where he made a couple questionable decisions. I would have loved to have him on air just to see, what were you thinking? Not criticize. I just want to see, what were you thinking? What was the mindset? Were you trying to pump up the crowd when you went for the alley-oop dunks, or were you went for that extra mile play that you didn't need?
Were you trying to blow the game? Were you trying to commit turnovers? Were you trying to lose? I mean, a lot of questions I have as well, Chris.
I tried to get him. He was going to call up. I tried to get him to call up, but he's just not into it. He's not feeling it. This was a kid who, in his first year, says that when he plays the game or when he's focused, he feels like he's the best player out there. But the best players don't make silly mistakes like he did or like Scatino did. And that's what led to the downfall of the Dolphins. both of them had a good game overall when you look at the numbers.
I wouldn't even say that, and I wouldn't even go that far to say that Fonseca had a good game overall. I mean, I think he was the reason for most of their runs ending with crucial turnovers in that game.
True, but also, if you take Fonseca out of the entire game, how many times did Fonseca get points on the board to start a rally? He did do that.
That's a fair point, but the fact remains that, I mean, he is a freshman, no? He's his first year here?
He's a junior. It's his first year here.
A junior, freshman player for the system, I guess you could say. And, I mean, the pressure seemed a little much. I mean, a true freshman rookie in Frankie Scatino looked more poised out there on the court than a third-year junior.
Until that last play, though. He did not look poised in that last play when instead of dishing off to Javon Cox on the right side, he held onto that ball a little bit too long, forcing himself to turn it over.
Oh, absolutely. When he was stripped on that last play with around 4 seconds to put them on the line, then, it was obviously too much. But don't forget who the shot was to put them up with 40 seconds left. That was Scatino from the three-point arc. So.
But you also can't we can't even put this game on the shoulders of one or two players. The fact that they went 16 for 31 from the foul line is ridiculous.
I mean, that's the reason they lost the game right there, because you can't give up easy, free points right there. And speaking of easy, free points, next topic?
It's a segue.
Wow, that was a pretty legit segue.
That was good. I was about to do a segue there, but you beat me to it. So we'll cut aside and we come back. Our next topic: should the NFL possibly take away for the point after touchdown and make a new rule? We'll talk about it when we come back. WSI Staten Island, 88.9 FM.